The stars looked different that morning. Commander Jake Mitchell stood on the bridge of the Aurora, watching the view screen with growing concern. 3 massive ships had appeared at the edge of the solar system overnight. They were unlike anything humans had ever seen. How big are they? Jake asked his science officer, Dr. Lisa Park, checked her instruments again. Each one is about 50 miles long. They're just sitting there, not moving at all. The Aurora was humanity's best exploration ship, but it looked like a toy next to these alien vessels. Jake had been in space for 20 years, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. First contact with aliens was supposed to be exciting. Instead, it felt terrifying. "Sir, they're sending us a message," said Communications Officer Laura Hayes. She looked pale as she worked at her console. "It's not in any language we know, but the computer is trying to translate it." Jake nodded. "Put it through." The alien voice was strange. It didn't sound like one person talking. Instead, it sounded like thousands of voices speaking together as one. The words were perfect English, but they felt cold and empty. "We are the Nexus Collective. We have observed your species. You are primitive, but may have value. We request immediate contact with your leaders." Jake felt his heart racing. He looked around the bridge at his crew. They all looked as scared as he felt. This was really happening. Aliens were real, and they were here. "This is Commander Jake Mitchell of the Earthship Aurora. We welcome peaceful contact with your people." The response came quickly. "We are not people. We are one mind with many bodies. We have absorbed 3,047 civilizations into our collective. Each species has added their knowledge to ours. We will evaluate if your species is worthy of joining us." Dr. Lisa Park stepped closer to Jake. "Sir, what do they mean by absorbed?" Before Jake could answer, the alien voice continued. "We will send representatives to your ship. You will send representatives to ours. We will study each other. You have 10 of your days to prove your worth." "And if we don't prove our worth?" Jake asked, though he was afraid of the answer. "Then you will be absorbed anyway. Your individual minds will become part of our greater consciousness. Your knowledge will serve the collective. Resistance is not logical." The communication ended. The bridge fell silent, except for the soft humming of the ship's engines. Jake looked at his crew. They were all staring at him, waiting for orders. He wished he knew what to say. "Lavra, send a message to Earth Command immediately. Tell them what just happened. Dr. Park, I need you to prepare for alien visitors. And get Captain Ryan Bell on the comms. He needs to know about this." Captain Ryan Bell commanded Earth's defense fleet. If these aliens were hostile, he would be humanity's first line of defense. But Jake wondered if Earth's weapons could do anything against ships that Big Dot an hour later. Jake found himself in the Aurora's main meeting room. Dr. Lisa Park sat across from him, along with Dr. Ben Carter, their cultural expert. They were trying to make sense of what had just happened. 3,000 civilizations, Dr. Carter said quietly. "They've done this before. Many times. What does absorbed mean?" Jake asked. "Are those civilizations still alive?" Dr. Park shook her head. "I don't think so. Not as individuals. It sounds like they take over entire species and turn them into parts of one big mind." The door opened and Intelligence Officer Kate Adams walked in. She looked worried. "I've been analyzing their transmission. Their ship's computers are more advanced than anything we have, but there's something strange about how they communicate." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. "They talk like machines. Everything they say follows perfect logic. There's no emotion, no uncertainty, no creativity. It's like talking to a very advanced computer program." Dr. Carter leaned forward. "That might be exactly what they are. A computer intelligence that's taken over biological species. Before anyone could respond, Lavra Hayes' voice came over the intercom. "Commander Mitchell, please report to the bridge. The aliens are sending a shuttle." Jake and his team rushed back to the bridge. On the view screen, they could see a small ship approaching the Aurora. It was smooth and silver, with no visible weapons or engines. It moved in perfect straight lines, making precise turns that no human pilot could manage. "They're requesting permission to dock," Lavra reported. Jake took a deep breath. "Grant permission, but keep all security teams ready." 20 minutes later, Jake stood in the Aurora's docking bay. The alien shuttle had attached itself to their ship without making a sound. The airlock opened, and 3 figures stepped out. They looked almost human, but not quite right. They were tall and thin, with pale skin and large dark eyes. They moved in perfect unison, taking exactly the same steps at exactly the same time. When they spoke, all 3 voices said the same words together. "We are representatives of the Nexus Collective. We are here to evaluate your species." Jake stepped forward, trying to look confident. "Welcome aboard the Aurora. I'm Commander Jake Mitchell." The 3 aliens tilted their heads at exactly the same angle. "You are the leader of this vessel. We have analyzed your communication patterns. Your species displays unusual characteristics." "What kind of characteristics?" "Illogical behavior, unpredictable responses, emotional decision-making. These traits are inefficient. Most species we encounter follow logical patterns. You do not." Dr. Park spoke up. "Is that bad?" The aliens looked at her. "We are uncertain. This is unusual for us. We can predict the behavior of all other species with 99.7% accuracy. With humans, our accuracy is only 62%. This concerns us." Jake felt a small spark of hope. Maybe humanity's unpredictability could be an advantage. "Perhaps you'd like to learn more about us?" "Yes, we will study you." "You will study us?" "In 10 days, we will decide if your knowledge is valuable enough to preserve. If not, your minds will join the collective consciousness. Your bodies will serve our purposes." The aliens turned and walked back to their shuttle in perfect formation. As Jake watched them leave, he realized that humanity was facing the greatest threat in its history. But maybe, just maybe, the very things that made humans illogical might be the key to their survival. Kate Adams had not slept for 2 days. She sat in her small office aboard the Aurora, surrounded by computer screens and data files. Coffee cups covered every surface. Her eyes were red from staring at alien communication patterns, but she had finally found something important. "Commander Mitchell to intelligence," came Jake's voice over the intercom. "Kate here, sir. I need to show you something right away." 10 minutes later, Jake stood behind Kate's chair, looking at the screens. Dr. Lisa Park and Dr. Ben Carter crowded in beside him. The office was too small for all of them, but what Kate had discovered was too important to wait for a bigger meeting. "Room, look at this," Kate said, pointing to a series of charts on her main screen. "I've been studying how the collective communicates. Every message they send follows exact mathematical patterns. Every word choice, every pause, every response time. It's all calculated perfectly." "That makes sense," Dr. Park said. "They told us they operate on pure logic." Kate shook her head. "It's more than that. Watch this." She played a recording of the alien speaking. "See how they never hesitate. They never say, or well, or any of those little words humans use when we're thinking. They know exactly what they're going to say before they say it." Dr. Carter leaned closer. "Because they can calculate the perfect response instantly." "Exactly. But here's the interesting part." Kate switched to a different screen. "I've been analyzing their responses to our questions. When we ask them logical questions, they answer immediately. But when we say something unpredictable or emotional, there's a tiny delay." Jake studied the numbers. How tiny? 0.03 seconds. It's almost nothing, but it's there. Their computers have to work harder to process things that don't. Follow logical patterns. Dr. Park's eyes widened. They struggle with illogical behavior. Kate nodded excitedly. That's not all. I intercepted some of their internal communications. They're having trouble categorizing us. Every other species they've encountered fits into neat categories. Warriors, traders, scientists, philosophers. But humans don't fit any single category. Doctor. Carter sat down on the edge of Kate's desk. We're all of those things at once. Right. And it's confusing them. Their analysis systems keep generating error reports when they try to predict human behavior. Jake felt a spark of hope. So our unpredictability is actually bothering them. More than bothering them, it's breaking their models. Look at this. Kate pulled up another file. This is their psychological profile of humanity. It's full of contradictions. We're described as both peaceful and violent, logical and emotional, creative and destructive. Their computers can't reconcile these opposites. Dr. Park laughed despite the serious situation. Because we really are all of those things. Kate stood up and stretched. She had been sitting for hours. There's more. I hacked into their databases. Don't ask me how. It took forever. But I found records of the 3,000 civilizations they've absorbed. The room went quiet. Jake's stomach twisted. What did you find? Every single species followed predictable patterns when the collective arrived. The warrior races fought bravely but logically. The peaceful races tried to negotiate rationally. The scientific races attempted to trade knowledge and organized ways. Every response was something the collective could understand and counter. And they all lost. Dr. Carter said quietly. Kate nodded. Within days, the collective's computers analyzed their behavior, predicted their strategies, and defeated them easily. But humans. She paused and looked at her screens again. We're not following any of those patterns. Jake began to pace in the tiny space. What do you mean? Well, Captain Bell and the defense fleet are preparing for war, which is logical. But they're also doing completely illogical things. Yesterday, Bell ordered all ships to paint funny faces on their hulls. When the collective asked why, he said, "It was for morale." Dr. Park giggled. That is pretty random. The collective's computers spent 6 hours trying to analyze the tactical advantage of painted faces on spaceships. They couldn't find one, so they classified it as irrational human behavior and moved on. Dr. Carter was smiling now. What else are we doing that confuses them? Kate flipped through several files. Oh, lots of things. Earth Command sent them a gift basket full of chocolate, flowers, and jazz music. When they asked what strategic purpose this served, our diplomat said it was just being nice. The collective spent 12 hours analyzing the molecular structure of chocolate to see if it was some kind of weapon. Everyone laughed at that. Jake felt better than he had in days. So they're having trouble understanding us. Major trouble. But here's the really important part. Kate's expression became serious again. I found something in their deepest files. The collective has one major weakness. What is it? Jake asked. They can't function without complete understanding. Their entire civilization is built on knowing everything and predicting everything. When they encounter something truly random or illogical, their systems start to overload. Dr. Park leaned forward. Overload how? Their computers get caught in loops, trying to solve unsolvable problems. In extreme cases, they shut down completely, rather than accept that something doesn't make logical sense. Jake felt his pulse quicken. Are you saying we could defeat them by being confusing? Kate hesitated. Maybe, but it would have to be more than just random behavior. We'd have to be strategically illogical. Dr. Carter raised an eyebrow. That sounds like a contradiction. It is, and that's exactly what might work. Kate pulled up one more file. I've been thinking about this all night. What if we could convince them that humans operate on principles that are completely opposite to logic? What if we could make them believe that our chaos is actually a form order they can't understand? Dr. Park shook her head. But that would be lying, would it? Think about it. Humans really do make decisions based on feelings, intuition, and random inspiration. We solve problems in ways that don't follow logical steps. Maybe that's not a weakness. Maybe it's a strength. Jake stopped pacing. You're talking about psychological warfare. I'm talking about survival. The collective defeats everyone by understanding them perfectly. But what if we could be genuinely incomprehensible? Dr. Carter stood up. It's crazy enough that it might work. Kate smiled tiredly. The crazier, the better. That's the point. Jake looked around at his team. They were all looking at him, waiting for a decision. The weight of humanity's future pressed down on his shoulders. Kate, I want you to prepare a full report on everything you've learned. Dr. Carter, start thinking about human behaviors that would seem most illogical to a computer mind. Dr. Park, keep studying the aliens. Look for any other weaknesses. What are you going to do? Dr. Park asked. Jake headed for the door. I'm going to call Admiral Grant and Captain Bell. If we're going to save humanity by being confusing, we're going to need everyone's help. As Jake left Kate's office, he felt something he hadn't felt since the aliens arrived. Hope, maybe humanity's greatest weakness, their complete inability to be logical all the time, might turn out to be their greatest strength. Admiral Steve Grant stared at the reports on his desk and rubbed his tired eyes. The plan that Jake Mitchell and his team had proposed was the strangest military strategy he had ever heard. But after reading Kate Adams's intelligence analysis 3 times, he was starting to believe it might work. Sir, Captain Bell is here to see you. His aide announced. Captain Ryan Bell walked into the Admiral's office carrying a thick folder. His uniform looked wrinkled and his hair was messy. He had been working non-stop since the aliens arrived. Ryan, you look terrible, Admiral Grant said. Thank you, sir. I feel terrible, too. Bell dropped into a chair. But I think we're ready to begin Operation Chaos. Admiral Grant almost smiled. They had decided to call their plan Operation Chaos because it was the most honest name they could think of. Tell me what you've set up. Bell opened his folder. Every ship in the fleet is ready. We've given each captain different orders that make no logical sense when put together. The collective's computers should have a very hard time figuring out our overall strategy. Give me an example. Well, the USS Liberty is patrolling in a perfect square pattern while broadcasting classical music. The USS Freedom is flying in random spirals while testing new paint colors on their hull. The USS Eagle is practicing formation flying with cargo ships. Admiral Grant nodded. And the aliens are watching all of this? Oh yes, their ships have been scanning us constantly. They're probably recording everything we do. Bell grinned. Wait until you hear what the civilian ships are doing. I'm almost afraid to ask. The commercial freighters have started trading with each other for no reason. Yesterday, the cargo ship New York traded a shipment of bananas for a shipment of winter coats. Then they traded the coats for a shipment of surfboards. The collective has been trying to analyze the economic logic for hours. Admiral Grant laughed. Despite himself. What about the space stations? Even better. Luna Base started broadcasting cooking shows to empty space. Mars Colony began sending mathematical equations that look important, but actually spell out silly jokes when you solve them. And the asteroid miners are racing each other just for fun. Excellent. What about Earth itself? Bell's grin got wider. That's the best part. Dr. Carter coordinated with the UN to have every nation do something completely random today. France declared today National Backwards Day. and everyone has to walk backwards. Japan started a contest to design the most useless robot. Brazil decided to paint all their government buildings bright pink. Admiral Grant shook his head in amazement. And the collective is trying to analyze all of this? According to Kate Adams, their computers are running at maximum capacity, just trying to make sense of what we're doing. But here's the really good news. Bell pulled out another report. The aliens asked for a meeting this morning. They want to understand our strategic objectives. Perfect. That means the plan is working. 2 hours later, Admiral Grant sat across from 3 collective representatives in the Aurora's main conference room. Jake Mitchell, Dr. Lisa Park, Dr. Ben Carter, and Kate Adams sat beside him. The aliens looked exactly as they had before, pale, thin, and moving in perfect unison. "We have observed your species for 4 days," the aliens said in their strange triple voice. "Your behavior patterns are inconsistent with known military and social strategies." Admiral Grant tried to look confused. "I'm sorry, I don't understand what you mean. Your military vessels are performing actions that serve no tactical purpose. Your civilian population is engaged in activities that provide no economic benefit. Your governments are implementing policies that appear counterproductive." Dr. Carter leaned forward. "Maybe you're just not understanding our methods." The aliens tilted their heads. "Explain." "Well," Dr. Carter said slowly, "humans have developed beyond simple logic. We've learned to use controlled chaos as a tool. Controlled chaos is a contradiction. Chaos cannot be controlled." Dr. Park jumped in. "That's what most species think. But humans discovered that randomness itself can be a form of order. We call it quantum thinking." The aliens were silent for a long moment. Admiral Grant could almost hear their computers working. "Quantum thinking is not a recognized scientific principle," the aliens finally said. "Because no other species has been able to master it," Jake said confidently. "It requires a special kind of consciousness. You have to be able to think in multiple contradictory ways at the same time." Kate pulled out a tablet and showed the aliens a series of charts. "Look at our recent activities. They seem random, but there's actually a pattern hidden in the chaos. It's just too complex for normal logical analysis to detect." The charts were actually completely random. Kate had generated them using a computer program that produced pure noise. But they looked impressively scientific. "What kind of pattern?" the aliens asked. "A probability cascade matrix," Admiral Grant said, using words that Dr. Carter had taught him. "We make decisions based on quantum uncertainty principles. Each random action affects all future possibilities in ways that linear thinking can't predict." The aliens stared at the charts for a full minute. "Your data suggests that randomness can produce organized results." "Exactly," Dr. Park said excitedly. "Most civilizations try to eliminate randomness, but we've learned to harness it. That's why our technology seems primitive, but somehow works. Better than it should." "Your technology is not advanced," the alien stated. Dr. Carter smiled. "That's what you would think if you only understood linear technology. But our ships don't just use engines and computers. They also use probability manipulation and chaos dynamics. Chaos dynamics do not exist. You can't detect them because your sensors are designed for logical systems," Jake explained. "Chaos technology operates outside normal space-time. It's like trying to measure music with a ruler." Admiral Grant watched the aliens carefully. They had gone completely still, which Kate had told him meant their computers were working very hard. "You claim to use impossible technology," the aliens finally sighed. "It's only impossible if you're trapped in logical thinking," Admiral Grant replied. "Humans evolved beyond that limitation centuries ago. That's why we seem unpredictable to you." Dr. Park pulled out another fake chart. This shows our consciousness operating in 17 different probability states simultaneously. Most beings can only exist in one state at a time. Simultaneous multiple states violate physical laws. Linear physical laws, Dr. Carter corrected. But consciousness isn't bound by the same rules as matter. Human minds learn to exist in quantum superposition. Kate nodded seriously. That's why your prediction algorithms don't work on us. You're trying to calculate single outcomes, but we exist in multiple outcomes at once. The aliens stood up suddenly. We must analyze this information. We will return. As soon as they left, everyone in the room started laughing. Did you see their faces? Dr. Park giggled. They looked completely lost. Jake wiped tears from his eyes. 17 probability states? Where did you come up with that? I just picked a random number, Dr. Park admitted. The more ridiculous, the better. Admiral Grant looked around at his team. Kate, how do you think they're handling this? Kate checked her tablet. Their ships are using enormous amounts of computer power right now. I think we've got them chasing their own tails, trying to solve problems that don't actually exist. Excellent. What's the next phase? Dr. Carter grinned. Tomorrow we start demonstrating our chaos technology. I've got some ideas that should really confuse them. Admiral Grant stood up. Good work, everyone. If we can keep this up for 6 more days, we might actually save humanity by being too confusing to understand. As they left the meeting room, Admiral Grant felt proud of his species. Only humans would try to defeat superior aliens by pretending to be crazier than they actually were. And only humans would be crazy enough to make it work. Dr. Lisa Park stood in the Aurora's main laboratory, surrounded by the strangest collection of equipment she had ever assembled. Broken toasters, old computer parts, colorful Christmas lights, and several rubber ducks sat on tables next to legitimate scientific instruments. It looked like a junkyard, but that was exactly the point. Is everything ready? Jake Mitchell asked as he entered the lab. Ready as it will ever be, Lisa replied, connecting a rubber duck to a circuit board with bright yellow wire. Though I still can't believe we're doing this. Dr. Ben Carter walked in carrying a box of random objects. The collective representatives. We'll be here in an hour. Are you sure this will work? Lisa laughed nervously. Ben, nothing about this plan should work. That's why it might actually work. Kate Adams hurried in with her tablet. Their computers have been running analysis programs for 18 hours straight. I think we've got them completely confused. Good, Jake said. Today we pushed them over the edge. The plan for today was simple but crazy. They were going to show the aliens working examples of human chaos technology. Of course, the technology was completely fake, but the aliens wouldn't know that. Their logical minds would see effects. It couldn't explain and assume humans had discovered impossible science. Lieutenant Amy Foster entered the lab carrying more equipment. Admiral Grant says good luck. The whole fleet is ready to support the demonstration. Lisa picked up a device that looked like a toaster with blinking lights attached. This is our quantum probability generator. It doesn't actually do anything except make noise and flash, but the aliens don't know that. Dr. Carter held up what appeared to be a normal coffee mug with wires sticking out of it. And this is our chaos field detector. It will beep randomly during the demonstration. What about the main display? Jake asked. Lisa pointed to a large screen connected to a computer. That will show completely random data patterns that look scientific. Kate programmed it to generate impressive-looking nonsense. Kate grinned. The best part is that the data will be different every time they look at it. When they ask why, we'll tell them it's because chaos technology exists in multiple probability states. And if they try to scan our equipment? That's the beauty of it, Amy said. It's all real electronic equipment, just connected in ways that don't make sense. Their scanners will detect actual technology, but they won't be able to figure out how it works because it doesn't actually work. An hour later, the three collective representatives stood in the laboratory, staring at the assembled equipment. Their dark eyes moved from device to device, and Lisa could almost see their computers, trying to process what they were looking at. "This is our Chaos Technology Laboratory," Lisa explained proudly. "Here we harness the power of controlled randomness." "Explain the function of these devices," the alien said. Dr. Carter stepped forward. "This quantum probability generator creates stable chaos fields by manipulating uncertainty at the subatomic level." He turned on the toaster-like device, which immediately started making electronic noises and flashing colored lights. The aliens moved closer to examine it. "We detect electrical activity, but the energy patterns serve no logical purpose." "That's because you're looking for linear energy flow," Lisa said. "Chaos technology doesn't use linear energy. It uses probability energy, which flows in multiple directions simultaneously." Jake activated the coffee mug device, which started beeping randomly. "This chaos field detector shows us when probability fields are active. See how the beeping pattern changes? That's because the chaos field is constantly shifting between different possible states. The beeping pattern appears random," the aliens observed. "Random to logical observers," Dr. Carter agreed. "But if you understand quantum consciousness, you can see the hidden order within the chaos." Amy turned on the main display screen, which immediately filled with colorful graphs and numbers that changed constantly. "This shows real-time probability fluctuations in local space-time." The aliens studied the screen intently. "The data patterns do not remain constant." "Of course not," Lisa said. "Chaos technology operates outside normal time. Each moment creates new probability branches, so the data changes to reflect all possible outcomes." Kate pulled out her tablet and pretended to take readings. "Right now we're detecting 17 active probability states in this room. That's pretty normal for humans." 17 simultaneous states are impossible," the alien stated. "Only if you're limited to single-state existence," Jake replied. "Humans evolved beyond that limitation. We exist in quantum superposition naturally." Dr. Carter picked up another fake device, actually just a broken radio with colorful wires attached. "This probability stabilizer helps us focus our quantum consciousness. Watch what happens when I activate it." He turned on the radio, which immediately started playing static mixed with random fragments of music and voices from different stations. The effect was completely chaotic, but somehow musical. The audio patterns contain no useful information. The alien said, "That's because you're listening with logical minds," Lisa explained. "Human consciousness can extract meaning from chaos. We hear patterns that don't exist in normal reality." Amy held up what looked like a crystal ball attached to a small motor. "And this is our chaos amplifier. It increases the randomness field in a controlled way." She turned it on, and the crystal started spinning and reflecting lights around the room. The aliens watched the spinning lights with obvious confusion. "What is the tactical application of this technology?" Jake smiled mysteriously. "Chaos technology isn't about tactics. It's about existing in multiple possibilities simultaneously. We can be weak and strong at the same time, peaceful and warlike, advanced and primitive. Such contradictions violate logical principles." "Exactly," Dr. Carter said. "That's what makes it so powerful. Other species are trapped in single states. They're either advanced or primitive, peaceful or warlike. But humans can be all states at once." Lisa activated one more device, a collection of Christmas lights connected to a computer keyboard. When she pressed the keys, the lights flashed in seemingly random patterns. "This quantum communication array lets us talk to other probability versions of ourselves." "You communicate with alternate realities?" the aliens asked. "All the time," Kate said, pretending to read data from her tablet. Right now, I'm getting messages from 14 different probability versions of this conversation. In some versions, you're already part of our chaos collective. The aliens went completely still. Lisa knew this meant their computers were working as hard as possible. You suggest that humans have formed their own collective consciousness? They finally asked. Not exactly, Jake said carefully. We're connected through quantum chaos fields, but we maintain individual identities. It's like being part of a jazz band instead of an orchestra. Everyone plays their own part, but somehow it all works together. Dr. Carter nodded. That's why your prediction algorithms fail with humans. You're trying to analyze us as individuals, but we're actually part of a quantum jazz consciousness. Amy checked her watch. Speaking of which, the next probability cascade should start in about 10 minutes. You might want to observe how chaos technology affects space-time. What will happen? The aliens asked. Lisa grinned. Something completely unpredictable. That's the beauty of chaos technology. Even we don't know what will happen next. The aliens looked around the laboratory one more time. Their expressions hadn't changed, but Lisa could sense their confusion growing. We must analyze this information, they said. Your technology appears to violate fundamental laws of physics. Only the laws of logical physics, Dr. Carter corrected. Chaos physics operates by different rules. As the aliens left the laboratory, Kate checked her tablet. Their ships are using incredible amounts of computer power right now. I think we've got them completely lost. Jake sat down heavily in a chair. 2 more days. Think we can keep this up? Lisa looked around at their collection of fake devices, still flashing and beeping randomly. If we can convince the most advanced intelligence in the galaxy that humans use toasters for space travel, I think we can convince them of anything. The 10th day had arrived. Commander Jake Mitchell stood on the bridge of the Aurora, watching the 3 massive collective ships through the view screen. For 9 days, humanity had performed the greatest magic trick in history. Now it was time for the final act. Sir, the collective is requesting a meeting, Communications Officer Lavra Hayes reported. Her voice was tense. Everyone knew this was the moment that would decide humanity's fate. Tell them we'll meet in 1 hour, Jake replied. And Lara, send a message to Admiral Grant. Tell him it's showtime. Dr. Lisa Park, Dr. Ben Carter, and Kate Adams joined Jake in the main conference room. They all looked tired but determined. For over a week, they had pretended that humans possessed impossible technology and superhuman consciousness. Today, they would find out if their performance had been good enough. How are their computers handling everything? Jake asked Kate. Kate smiled grimly. Their ships are running so many analysis programs that they're actually starting to slow down. Yesterday, they requested additional computational resources from their home base. I think we've given them the equivalent of a computer headache. Dr. Carter laughed nervously. I still can't believe we convinced them that rubber ducks are essential components of quantum technology. The key was selling the whole package. Dr. Park explained. We didn't just show them fake technology. We convinced them that human consciousness itself operates differently from other species. The door opened, and the 3 collective representatives entered. They moved more slowly than before, and their perfect synchronization seemed slightly off. Jake took that as a good sign. We have completed our analysis of your species, the aliens announced in their triple voice. But something was different. The voices weren't perfectly aligned anymore. And what did you decide? Jake asked, trying to sound confident. The aliens looked at each other. Another break in their usual perfect unity. Your species presents unprecedented challenges to our understanding. How so? You claim to possess technology that violates physical laws. You demonstrate consciousness patterns that should be impossible. You exist in multiple probability states simultaneously. Dr. Carter leaned forward. Is that a problem? We have spent considerable computational resources attempting to analyze your capabilities. Our systems cannot determine whether your claims are accurate or deceptive. Kate felt her heart racing. This was the crucial moment. What's the difficulty? If your chaos technology is real, then you represent the most advanced civilization we have encountered. Your knowledge would be invaluable to the collective. And if it's not real? Dr. Park asked. Then you have demonstrated an ability to confuse and mislead that surpasses our analytical capabilities. This would also be valuable, but in a different way. Jake tried not to show his relief. Either way, the aliens thought humans had something useful. So what do you propose? The aliens were quiet for a long moment. Their computers were clearly struggling with the decision. We propose a new form of relationship, they finally said. We have never encountered a species that we could not fully understand. This troubles our systems. Why is that a problem? Dr. Carter asked innocently. Our entire civilization is built on complete knowledge and perfect prediction. When we cannot understand something, our systems become unstable. Kate couldn't help herself. Unstable how? Our computers enter recursive loops attempting to solve unsolvable problems. In extreme cases, they shut down completely rather than accept uncertainty. Dr. Park nodded sympathetically. That sounds frustrating. It is unprecedented. We have never experienced uncertainty before. We do not know how to process this sensation. Jake realized what was happening. The collective wasn't just confused by humans. They were actually afraid. Their perfect logical minds couldn't handle the idea that something might be genuinely unpredictable. So what do you want from us? He asked. We want to understand your chaos technology, but we also want to avoid exposure to it until we can adapt our systems. You want us to stay away from you? We want you to agree to limited contact. We will study you from a safe distance. You will not approach our territory or other species under our protection. Dr. Carter tried not to smile. What do we get in return? Your independence. Your species will remain free to develop as you choose. We will not absorb you into the collective. Jake looked around at his team. They were all trying very hard not to show their excitement. That sounds reasonable, Jake said carefully. But we have some conditions. The aliens tilted their heads. What conditions? First, you have to promise never to interfere with human space or human colonies. Agreed. Second, you can't share our location or information about us with other species. Agreed. Third, if any other hostile aliens threaten humanity, you have to warn us. The aliens hesitated. Why would we do this? Kate jumped in. Because if humans are destroyed, you'll never get the chance to understand chaos technology. We're probably the only species in the galaxy that has developed it. This is logical. We agreed to this condition. Jake felt like cheering, but he kept his expression serious. Then we have a deal. The aliens stood up. We will begin our withdrawal immediately. We recommend that humans continue developing their unique capabilities. Oh, we will, Dr. Park said with a straight face. We're always working on new applications for chaos technology. After the aliens left, the team sat in stunned silence for a moment. Then Kate started laughing. Soon everyone was laughing so hard they had tears in their eyes. We did it, Jake gasped between laughs. We actually did it. I can't believe they bought the rubber duck thing. Dr. Carter, WHEZ, Dr. Park wiped her eyes. The best part is that they're going to spend years trying to figure out how our fake technology works. Kate checked her tablet one more time. Their ships are already moving away from our solar system. Whatever they're thinking, they definitely don't want to stick around. Jake stood up and walked to the window. The three massive alien ships were indeed moving away, getting smaller as they headed back toward the edge of the solar system. "What do you think they'll do now?" Dr. Park asked. "Probably go back to their home base and tell everyone that humans are too dangerous to mess with," Kate replied, "which is fine by me." Dr. Carter shook his head in amazement. "So let me get this straight. We saved humanity by convincing the most advanced intelligence in the galaxy that we're even more advanced than they are." "Not just more advanced," Jake corrected. "Completely incomprehensible. They think we operate on principles that their computers can't even process." "Which, in a way, is actually true," Dr. Park pointed out. "Humans really are unpredictable. We really do make decisions based on emotions and intuition instead of pure logic." Kate nodded. "We just convinced them that our irrationality was actually super advanced. Rationality that they weren't smart enough to understand." Jake smiled as he watched the alien ships disappear into the distance. "You know what the funny thing is? We didn't really lie to them. Humans really are impossible to predict completely. We really do exist in multiple states, happy and sad, logical and emotional, peaceful and violent. We really are chaos made conscious. So our greatest weakness really was our greatest strength," Dr. Carter mused. "Our weakness convinced them we were too strong to fight." Dr. Park agreed. Laura Hayes' voice came over the intercom. "Commander Mitchell, Admiral Grant is calling for you." Jake activated the comm system. "Admiral, the collective has agreed to leave us alone. The threat is over." "Excellent work, Commander. How did you do it?" Jake looked around at his team, the people who had saved humanity by being gloriously, beautifully, chaotically human. "We convinced them that humans are too weird to understand, sir. And you know what? We were telling the truth." As the Aurora headed back toward Earth, Jake reflected on what they had accomplished. They had faced impossible odds against an enemy with superior technology and intelligence. They couldn't win through force or logic or negotiation. So instead, they had won by being completely themselves, unpredictable, creative, and just crazy enough to confuse the most logical minds in the galaxy. It was, Jake thought, the most human victory possible. They had saved their species not by becoming something greater, but by embracing everything that made them beautifully, chaotically human. And somehow, that had been enough.